Welcome to Access Africa, the show that spotlights doing business on the African continent. My name is Prue Jinka. In this episode, we focus on Tiger Brand's impact in Cameroon. Fact: the name Cameroon is a Portuguese phrase meaning river of prawns. It is derived from Rio dos Cameros. The Republic of Cameroon is a Central African country with a population of 21.7 million. Tiger Brands acquired S1-EP3 in 2008. The S1-EP3 company is the leading confectionery business in Central Africa and home to brands that hold first place in their categories. The leading confectionery company in Central Africa? How did this happen? Cameroon is a complex business territory. Because of its cultural diversity, it has earned its title Miniature Africa, with over 250 different subcultures and dialects. At a quick glance, one would categorize Cameroon as high risk, even though the potential is great. It takes vision to look deeper, and Tiger Brands did just this. The organization reviewed and took a decision to respond to Cameroon as a place of possibility and long-term partnerships, establishing its business here as the hub for Central Africa. With annual sales of about 47 million euro, S1-EP3 is the leading manufacturer of chocolate products in Central Africa. Tiger Brands Limited in 2008 announced their decision to acquire major shares in the company from Barry Callebaut. So Peter, why Cameroon?
As Tiger was looking for opportunities across the continent, one of the merchant banks came across this business, and as a consequence, we thought it would be a good business to pursue. Barry Callebaut. The Cameroon is a great country. It portends great opportunity in the long term for us as part of our expansion across the continent, and in a category that we understood, it seemed to make perfect sense. So it fitted the strategy. How did you get into Cameroon?
When we strategically looked at how we would execute against the broader Africa vision, we carved up the continent into its sub-Saharan components: West, Central, Eastern, and Southern. And when we obviously contemplated Central Africa, Cameroon itself was pretty central to that. The S1-EP3 organization, when we acquired it, had a footprint that extended into Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, and DRC. So it was attractive from a number of perspectives.
What were the risks involved?
The risks, obviously, when one goes into a foreign territory, are precisely that, a foreign territory. It's a different language, it's a different culture. Let's be honest, it's a long way from home. We didn't have one single biggest partner in this particular instance. So certainly a fair amount of research into the environment, into the tax regime, into the macro-political stability, were all some of the initiatives which we embarked on to de-risk ourselves as we went forward into that venture.
Please share with us a story that embodies both the challenges and the opportunities of working within this region.
Probably the best example, I think, relates to how we developed our route to market in Cameroon. Roughly 97% of the volume that we trade into Cameroon is into typical open air or wet markets, because the penetration incidence of formal retail, as we understand it, is incredibly low. So from that perspective, in particular, when you take chocolate-related products into an environment where temperatures are north of 30 degrees, and really getting that market penetration aligned at the same time was a significant challenge for us.
You talk a lot about route to market as opposed to central distribution or logistics. Why is that?
Good question, Prue. And it's best, I suppose, exampled in the comparisons between South African environment and a Cameroonian environment in this instance, whereby South Africa has a relatively high incidence of formal retail, and the associated efficiencies in servicing the various retail stores in the country is best through single distribution center type points, and hence obviously a lot of the large retailers in South Africa investing in the associated infrastructure and capability. It's very different in markets like Cameroon, where I was saying that the penetration of formal retail is incredibly low. So in that context then, the concept of route to market as opposed to distribution or logistics is quite an important point to define. Because logistics or distribution, I suppose, has its heart, moving goods from one point to another. The route to market thinking is something far more complex and a little bit more complicated, simply because how on earth do you actually get your product to this multitude of hundreds of thousands of small tabletops when they're not even defined in the first instance? So consequently, we spent an inordinate amount of time defining a classic channel hierarchy and associated cost to serve, right down to GPS marking each of the tabletops themselves, and then obviously working backwards into a cost to serve that, which made commercial sense in conjunction with our distribution partners. This obviously allowed us what we call far greater line of sight. In other words, we could then determine exactly what SKUs are selling, where and why, and obviously build a database such that we could exploit and expand upon that as we journeyed on this route to market development in markets such as this.
But if we had simply gone in there with a mindset that said we're used to selling into formal channels only, we're used to selling into formal structures only, we would never get anywhere. So it's the ability to operate and to activate in those markets where you've got tabletops and you've got push carts and you've got guys selling on bicycles, because ultimately it's fit for purpose. It's delivering to the customer and to the consumer that which they want in the format that they require, hopefully for great value.
Upon acquisition of the company, Tiger Brands retained majority shareholding whilst leaving the minority shares firmly in the hands of the locals. This, once again, bears testament to the unique manner in which Tiger Brands conducts business on the African continent.
It's always interesting when you buy companies from other owners, because companies come with their own history. They come with their own approach to doing things. My colleagues here, Neil Brimacombe in particular, but also Mohamedou, who runs the Cameroonian business, they developed a very interesting program. We call it Fix, Optimize and Grow, where you fix the existing problems in the business, whether they are physical and or other, where you optimize the ability of the business to operate, and then you begin to grow. So it gives you the permission to grow that business. FOG, as we call it lovingly.
Next, we speak to the managing director of Chococam, who's been with the company since Tiger Brands' acquisition. Mohamedou, tell us about the success of Chococam since Tiger Brands' acquisition.
Well, the growth has been impressive. The execution of our FOG strategy has yielded very impressive results. In the past 5 years, our top line, in round terms, has been multiplied by 2. And in the same time, our bottom line, EBIT term, multiplied by 3. So in reality, since we have been with a Tiger brand and executing the strategy of fixing the business, optimizing it and growing it, we have been really making absolutely fantastic results in Chococam Tiger brand here in Cameroon.
What has been the strategy underpinning this growth?
I think it's really to do with consumer centricity. To have the consumer at the heart of our business, to think of how we can better service the consumer and the customer by providing them every day with quality product and services. We don't compromise on quality because we want to build trust and loyalty with our consumers. we strive to give them every day the best of the product that they want from us. So really focusing on the consumers, renovating our brands and innovating to always be relevant to them. This is really the key to our success here in Cameroon.
What role does the local Cameroonian play in Chococam?
Well, they really play a very important role. You know, Tiger have about 25% share, and we have 25% that is held by local minority, about 100 of them. And they really, some of them really actually help us to bridge between us and the authorities. You know, they know the environment, they know the system, they know the people. So they help us really with local authorities to get things done.
Could you take us through your route to market successes thus far?
That is really a very important question, because the key to any success here is if you really master or not that route to market. Therefore, we have spent time studying, that indirect trade to see who is inside. You have so many different middlemen that have different expectations in terms of, margin or markup. And you must know really how they operate for you to be able to define your pricing and your margin strategy, so that the end consumer doesn't pay a higher price for your product. Therefore, we actually have developed that capabilities now in Cameroon, and we are able to cover 3/4 of all the retail point of sales in the informal sector. That's probably more than 40,000 point of sales that actually we have to visit and cover them fully, so that the consumers can find our product in their neighborhood every day when they need them.
Clearly, this capability has put Chococam at the forefront of their market. They bring to their customers and consumers several brand leaders in the confectionery and beverage space within Cameroon. You have some of the most interesting brands. Would you tell us a bit more about them?
You are right, Prue. We have a very fantastic brand. Our brand in this market commands a very high market share. Some brands have above 80% market share in chocolate or in spread. I'm sure you have been, here when you were a child. I'm sure you knew our brand like Cola or maybe Mambo in chocolate. I mean, they are really well anchored in this market, not only here, but also in the region. You find them in Gabon, you find them in Congo, you find them in Chad, you find them also in Equatorial Guinea. So they are really well entrenched here, and they are loved by consumers. And those brands really, I think they have been with many consumers for so many, many years that they represent the category.
What are the marketing strategies that you believe have led to the success of your leading brands?
I think really the key is to stay relevant to the consumer. And so you need to bring your brand alive. You need to renovate them and innovate at the same time. That is really, I think, the key to what we're doing and the key to our success. Behind that, you have to have really very good quality product. Even we have, prices increase in raw materials, we don't compromise on the product quality, because it is key. It is the foundation for trust and loyalty of our consumers. They need to find in our product every day the same taste. We are about food, and food is about taste. So they must have really the same taste every day. So product quality really for us is key, and we do everything to maintain our recipe and the quality of our product. When Tiger acquired Chococam in 2008, most of the brand had not been worked on for more than 30 years. So we really had to embark on a huge plan to renovate first all the brands. It actually took about 2 years to do that, to go through the packaging work, the recipe improvement, and all our brands now are renovated. Then second phase was innovation. So that really helped us actually in our growth journey, where we were able to capture different consumer segments in that process and grow the top line significantly.
And how has the market responded to these renovations?
The trade was absolutely, they were thrilled to see that after so many years, more than 30 years, we have actually brought into the market, new packaging, new format, and they really loved it. The consumer was even more. The consumer just, they responded massively.
What's it like doing business in Cameroon?
We have been growing double digit in the last 5 years. Same thing in 2014, where we also had double digit growth, both top line and bottom line. So you can make it work, but it requires you to know the environment properly, to identify any obstacle in the environment, to find a way of resolving them, and to focus your team on delivering on the operational result really. So that, I think, is the key for anybody coming in this environment to do business.
Daily operations are key for an organization. Tiger Brands have utilized practical applications to sustain and grow Chococam.
The factory was one of the many areas of focus at the time of the acquisition, and it is here that tangible improvement has occurred.
Well, when I joined the company just after the acquisition, what we found out was the poor condition of the factory. The processes were very manual. So you can imagine the factory with a lot of crowd, a lot of risk as well. So the plant was not well shaped for a food factory. What we did is to start from the bottom.
Yes.
We built our manufacturing excellence roadmap under 4 pillars. So we started with the quality, hygiene, the safety. And then after that, we went into the cost. So we have reduced the manning considerably. We have reduced as well the production variances. And then we installed the tools to measure how people are operating.
Many of the lines have already been automated, guaranteeing right first time and consistency in quality. Solutions have been engineered, such as delivering chocolate in polystyrene cases to address the temperature challenges in this region.
What cost efficiencies have been noted by the business since its acquisition by Tiger Brands?
When we arrived on board, we did a kind of survey of the organization and where the costs are sitting. Of course, if I take you through our P&L, I can show you some sterling example where are sitting the cost savings. The main one was based on procurement. We designed a strategy for our procurement. We revisited the listed suppliers, and we noted that for some key raw material, we did not have any alternative suppliers. So we did put in place a strategy to identify some alternative suppliers. So when you have 1 or 2 or 3 suppliers for one item, you are able to bargain, to negotiate price down. So this is the second level of our strategy. And now we put also in place an annual assessment of the service level of each supplier. So we are able to renew the contract or to cancel the contract. What I think is very important is that the negotiation of the prices is not only left to the procurement manager. The managing director and myself, we are deeply involved in the negotiation of key raw materials.
These are just a few of the issues addressed since Tiger Brands acquired Chococam, ensuring growth within Cameroon and its neighboring regions.
Would you highlight for us some of your successes at Chococam?
Well, there are so many really to pick from, but if you take it from the business perspective, we have been growing phenomenally in the last 5 years. When I look at even the people inside the company, the mindset has really evolved. Now we are more into this performance mindset, where people need to do things and do them on time and do them well. We are also into optimizing everything we do And you can see people actually here now, they are more cost conscious because they know that you must actually deliver bottom line result. Another thing is that when we look at our security on site, when we acquire Chococam, had a lot of problem with the facility, with the production line. But in the last 3 years, we have put a program on health, hygiene, and security. And for the last 2 years, we have 0 accident on this site. 0 accident.
A phenomenal fact and one to be very proud of.
The reason that has succeeded as well as it has in the Cameroon is really around the leaders you put in businesses, because they ultimately are able to make the difference between what becomes a fad and what becomes part of the DNA of the business.
You have to change everything, put in place and change some procedure, change the way of working, try to engage people on the right direction, and also put in place a kind of communication system. Earlier in the morning, we used to organize, maybe on a monthly basis, communication with people to share with them on company projects, on company performance, on company vision, company values. And the main challenge was there in terms of value. And we used to say to people that value are not just theoretical. You have to practice them, and we need to see them in your behavior. Today, the mindset has changed. People are more focused on performance. People are more focused on discipline, ethics, and even the management has done some big changes. If you take the area of training and development, in 2008, we had about 269 people trained. And today, in 2014, we have about 1,700 people trained.
Mohamedou, 7 years later, do you think Tiger Brand's decision or Tiger Brand's acquisition of Chococam was a good idea?
Of course, yes. I mean, even in the hard time, when we were fixing the business, we still deliver against the acquisition case. We have never failed 1 year of delivering against the investment case. So yes, I mean, it has been absolutely profitable for Tiger Brand.
What added value has Tiger Brands brought to Chococam and the Cameroonian consumers?
To be part of Tiger Brand really, I mean, is a treasure, because we have now access to a large basket of product and brand. So we can actually see what we can, piggyback from there, what we can choose, what we can select and bring in our different markets here, and then expand. And we're doing it even now. We're doing it now with Tastic rice and Tastic pasta. Also with Miadi that we are getting from our sister company in Kenya. So that family, the group Tiger Brand, allow us to have a much larger access to more possibilities in terms of brand, in terms of products, in terms of, let's say, assistance, be it in IT, in supply chain, in finance, in marketing. It is really actually helping us to, go faster. Therefore, I think Tiger Brand as, let's say, an owner for us is like a blessing, because everybody here will tell you in the company that with Tiger Brand, there is a new birth of Chococam.
So from what appeared at first glance to be a tough region, Tiger Brands are carving the way for future success here in Cameroon.
Thank you for watching Access Africa. From me, Prujinka, until next time, goodbye.